Imagine waking up one morning and the world is quiet. No texts buzzing on your phone, no emails demanding your attention, no voices telling you who you should be. Just you, alone with your thoughts, in a silence so deep it feels like the universe is holding its breath. For most men, this moment is terrifying. It's the kind of quiet that strips away every distraction and forces you to face the raw truth of who you are. But what if I told you this silence isn't your enemy? What if I told you it's the forge, where the strongest version of yourself is waiting to be shaped? Welcome to ZENLIGHT 8, where we dive into the truths that transform lives through Stoicism and self-improvement. Today we're talking about the power of silence, not as a void to fear, but as a path to unshakable clarity and strength. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll learn practical steps to harness this silence, to stop running from it, and to start building a life of purpose that no one can ignore. This isn't just philosophy. It's a roadmap you can apply today, right now, to become the man you've always known you could be. Let's dive in. Picture this. It's 6 a.m., and you're sitting on your porch with a cup of coffee. The world hasn't woken up yet. No cars, no notifications, just the faint sound of birds and the rhythm of your own breathing. For a moment, everything feels still, but then it hits you, a wave of unease. Thoughts creep in. Am I doing enough? Why haven't I heard back from that job? What if no one really sees me? This is the silence most men run from. We fill it with noise, scrolling through social media, chasing relationships, burying ourselves in work, because sitting in that quiet feels like standing on the edge of a cliff. But here's the truth, rooted in Stoicism. The things you fear in silence are just shadows. They have no power unless you give it to them. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Silence is where you take that power back. It's where you stop letting the world dictate your worth and start defining it for yourself. Let me share a story. A few years ago, I hit a breaking point. I was 28, working a job I hated, chasing approval from people who didn't even know me. My phone was my lifeline. Every like, every text, every notification was proof I mattered. But one day I turned it off. I drove out to a lake, sat on the shore, and let the silence wash over me. At first it was brutal. Every insecurity I'd buried came roaring back. The girl who left, the dreams I'd abandoned, the voice in my head saying I'd never be enough. I wanted to run, to grab my phone, to drown it out. But I stayed. I sat there for an hour, then 2, and something shifted. The noise in my head started to fade. I began to see those thoughts for what they were, just thoughts, not truths. For the first time, I felt a quiet strength, like I was standing on solid ground. That day changed me. It didn't fix everything, but it showed me that silence isn't a punishment. It's a teacher. Now let's make this real for you. Why do we fear silence? Because it forces us to confront what we've been avoiding. In a world that celebrates noise, endless likes, constant chatter, instant gratification, silence feels like failure. Society tells us a man's worth is measured by how many people need him, how many followers he has, how full his calendar is. But that's a lie. The Stoics knew this. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, said, "We are not at peace until we are at peace with ourselves." You can't find that peace in a crowd. You find it alone, in the quiet moments where you face your doubts and choose to keep going. Think about the last time you were truly alone. Maybe it was a late night after a long day, or a morning when your plans fell through. What did you do? Did you reach for your phone? Did you turn on the TV? Or did you sit with it? Most of us don't, because silence brings up questions we're afraid to answer. Who am I when no one's watching? What do I really want? Am I proud of the man I'm becoming? These questions are heavy, but they're the foundation of real growth. Here's a practical step you can take today. Start small. Find 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, where you can be alone with no distractions. No phone, no music, no noise. Sit in a chair, close your eyes, and let your thoughts come. Don't judge them. Don't fight them. Just observe. Notice how your mind races, how it tries to pull you away. Stay with it. This is what the Stoics called amor fati, loving your fate. You're not running from the discomfort. You're embracing it as a chance to grow. Do this every day for a week, and you'll start to notice something powerful. Those thoughts lose their grip. You realize you're not your fears. You're the man who faces them. Let's go deeper. Silence isn't just about sitting still. It's about reclaiming your mind. Every day we're bombarded with noise. Ads telling us what to buy, social media telling us who to be, people telling us what to feel. It's like living in a storm and your thoughts get swept away. Silence is your shelter. It's where you sort through the chaos and find what's real. I remember a guy I met at a coffee shop last year, Tom. He was 35, recently divorced, and lost. He told me he couldn't stand being alone because it reminded him of everything he'd lost. I asked him to try something. Every morning, before checking his phone, sit in silence for 5 minutes and write down one thing he was grateful for. At first, he thought it was pointless, but after a month, he said something I'll never forget. I started to hear myself again. I realized I don't need someone else to tell me I'm enough. That's the power of silence. It doesn't just clear your head, it rebuilds your soul. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but I'm busy. I've got a job, bills, responsibilities. I hear you. Life's loud. But here's the thing. You don't need hours of solitude to start. You can find silence in the gaps, a quiet walk after work, a moment in your car before you start the engine, 5 minutes before bed. The key is intention. Choose to be present. Choose to listen to yourself. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from within, not from escaping your problems, but from facing them with clarity. Silence gives you that clarity. It's like stepping out of a fog and seeing the path ahead. One last thought before we move on. Silence isn't about hiding from the world. It's about preparing to show up stronger. When you learn to sit with yourself, you stop needing others to fill your voids. You stop chasing validation. You start choosing who deserves your time, your energy, your trust. That's real power. That's the kind of man who walks into a room and doesn't need to prove anything, because he's already proven it to himself. So, if you're ready to stop running from the quiet, to start building a life that's yours, not someone else's, stay with me. Up next, we're diving into the addiction most men don't even know they have, and how breaking free from it will set you apart. Let's talk about a trap so subtle, most men don't even see it. It's not drugs, not alcohol, but something just as dangerous, the need for approval. You wake up, grab your phone, and check for texts, likes, comments. You post a picture, a story, a thought, and wait for the world to nod back. You say yes when you mean no. Hold back your real opinions to avoid a fight. Tolerate people who drain you just to keep the peace. Sound familiar? You're not alone. This is the approval addiction, and it's stealing your strength, your time, your identity. Here on ZENLIGHT, we're about cutting through the noise to find real truth, grounded in Stoicism and self-improvement. Today we're breaking down how to kick this addiction, not by shutting out the world, but by choosing yourself first. Stick around, because I'm sharing practical steps you can start today to reclaim your confidence and build a life that doesn't bend to anyone's expectations. Let's get to it. Picture yourself at a party. You're laughing, talking, but deep down, you're scanning the room. Are they liking me? Did that joke land? Why hasn't she texted me back? You're not really there. You're performing, shaping yourself to fit what you think others want. Now think about the last time you said something you didn't mean, just to avoid rocking the boat. Maybe it was at work, agreeing with a boss you knew was wrong, or with friends, nodding along to keep the vibe light. Every time you do this, you chip away at yourself. You trade a piece of your truth for a moment of acceptance. And over time, you start to forget who you are. This is what approval does. It makes your worth dependent on someone else's reaction. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, nailed it when he said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Other people's opinions? Beyond your control. Their approval, not your business. Your job is to live by your values, not to collect thumbs ups. Let me tell you about Jake, a guy I coached last year. Jake was 32, a successful sales rep, but miserable. He was the guy everyone liked. Always smiling, always available, always saying the right thing. But inside, he was exhausted. He told me, "I feel like I'm wearing a mask, and I don't know how to take it off." We started small. I asked him to do one thing. For 1 week, say no to something he didn't want to do, without explaining himself. The first time he tried it, turning down a happy hour he didn't feel like going to, he said he felt sick with guilt. But then something clicked. No one hated him. The world didn't end. He started saying no more often, speaking his mind, setting boundaries. 6 months later, he was a different man. He quit his job to start his own business, cut ties with toxic friends, and started dating someone who respected him for who he was, not who he pretended to be. Jake didn't become arrogant. He became grounded. That's what happens when you stop chasing approval. You find yourself. So, why do we crave approval? It's wired into us. Back when humans lived in tribes, being liked meant survival. If the group rejected you, you were out in the cold, alone. But today, that instinct is a prison. You don't need everyone to like you to survive. You don't need 1,000 followers to matter. You need one person to believe in you, yourself. The Stoics taught that true strength comes from self-reliance. Not in a cold, isolated way, but in knowing your worth isn't tied to someone else's opinion. When you let go of approval, you stop being a puppet. You stop dancing to someone else's tune. You start living for you. Here's a practical step to start breaking this addiction. For the next 24 hours, pause before you respond to anything. Texts, emails, invitations. Ask yourself, am I saying this because I mean it, or because I want to be liked? If it's the second, don't respond. Let the moment pass. It's uncomfortable at first, like quitting coffee cold turkey. You'll feel the itch to please, to be seen, to be validated. But every time you resist, you build a muscle. You're telling yourself, my worth doesn't come from them. It comes from me. Try this for a week, and you'll start to feel a shift. You'll notice how much energy you were wasting on people who didn't deserve it. You'll start to respect yourself more. And here's the crazy part. When you stop trying to be liked, people start respecting you more. It's not about being rude or shutting people out. It's about being real. Think about the men you admire. Maybe a mentor, a leader, someone who's made a mark. Do they bend over backward to please everyone? No. They're clear about who they are. They speak their truth, even when it's unpopular. They walk away from what doesn't serve them. That's not arrogance, that's integrity. And integrity is magnetic. Women notice it. Friends notice it. Strangers feel it. When you stop chasing approval, you start commanding respect. Not because you're trying, but because you're living from a place of truth. Let's make this even more real. Approval isn't just about people, it's about systems. Social media is built to keep you hooked on likes. Your job might reward you for staying quiet, for not rocking the boat. Even your family might expect you to play a role that isn't you. Breaking this addiction means questioning everything. Ask yourself, where am I compromising myself? Maybe it's staying in a relationship that's draining you. Maybe it's working a job that kills your soul. Maybe it's pretending to be someone you're not to keep your parents happy. Write it down. Be honest. Then pick one thing, one small thing, and change it. Say no. Walk away. Speak up. It's scary, but it's freedom. One guy I know, Mike, did this. He was 40, stuck in a corporate job he hated, always saying yes to overtime to impress his boss. He started small. He stopped checking work emails. After 6 p.m., his boss wasn't thrilled, but Mike held firm. That one boundary gave him the courage to ask for a raise, then to start looking for a job that aligned with his values. Today, he's running his own small business happier than he's ever been. It started with one no. That's all it takes to start rewriting your story. Before we move on, let's sit with this. Breaking the approval addiction isn't a one-time fix. It's a practice. You'll slip up. You'll catch yourself people-pleasing, seeking that hit of validation. That's okay. The Stoics didn't expect perfection. They expected progress. Every time you choose yourself, you get stronger. You get clearer. You get closer to the man you're meant to be. So, if you're ready to stop living for likes and start living for you, stay with me. Next, we're diving into how solitude can unlock a clarity so powerful, it changes everything. There's a moment in every man's life when the world falls away, and he sees himself clearly. Not the version others expect, not the mask he wears, but the real him, flaws, dreams, and all. That moment doesn't happen in a crowd. It doesn't happen in the chaos of notifications or the rush of a packed schedule. It happens in solitude, in the quiet where your soul finally gets a chance to speak. Welcome back to ZENLIGHT 8, where we're building a life of purpose through Stoicism and self-improvement. Today, we're exploring how solitude can cut through the fog of modern life and give you the clarity to build something unstoppable. This isn't about running from the world, it's about finding your place in it. Stick with me, because I'm sharing real, practical ways to use solitude to redefine your path, starting today. Let's dive in. Imagine driving alone at night. No radio, no phone. Just the hum of the engine and the road stretching out under the stars. For a moment, the noise of your life fades, and you start to hear something else. Your own thoughts, unfiltered. Maybe it's a dream you've buried, like starting your own business or traveling the world. Maybe it's a truth you've been avoiding, like a relationship that's holding you back. In that quiet, you feel a spark, a sense of direction you haven't felt in years. That's what solitude does. It's not about loneliness. It's about reconnection. It's about giving yourself permission to listen to the voice you've drowned out with distractions. The Stoics understood this. Seneca wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as you can. Associate with people who are likely to improve you, but don't forget to spend time alone." Solitude is where you strip away the clutter, other people's expectations, society's rules, the endless scroll of social media, and find what's true for you. Let me tell you about a time I found this clarity. 2 years ago, I was burned out. I was hustling, chasing goals I thought I wanted. A promotion, a bigger apartment, a picture-perfect life, but I wasn't happy. One weekend, I canceled my plans, turned off my phone, and went hiking alone in the mountains. I sat on a rock overlooking a valley, and for the first time in months, I let myself think. No agenda, no to-do list, just me. At first, my mind was a mess, worries, regrets, plans. But as the hours passed, something settled. I realized I was chasing things that didn't matter to me. I wanted freedom, not status. I wanted purpose, not applause. That day, I decided to quit my job and start this channel, ZENLIGHT 8. It was terrifying, but it was the clearest decision I've ever made. Solitude didn't give me all the answers, but it gave me the courage to ask the right questions. So why is solitude so powerful? Because it's the only place where you can be completely honest with yourself. In the noise of everyday life, you're reactive. You're dodging stress, pleasing others, keeping up. But in solitude, you stop reacting and start reflecting. You ask, what do I really want? Who am I when no one's watching? What's holding me back? These questions are simple, but their answers are life-changing. Think about the last time you made a big decision. Maybe it was choosing a career, ending a relationship, or moving to a new city. Did you make it in a rush, surrounded by advice and opinions? Or did you find a quiet moment to listen to yourself? Most of us don't. We let the world decide for us. But the Stoics taught that wisdom comes from within. Marcus Aurelius spent hours alone, writing his meditations, not for fame, but to understand himself. That's what solitude offers. A chance to write your own meditations, to map out your own path. Here's a practical way to start. Pick one evening this week, say Friday after work. Clear your schedule. No plans, no phone, no Netflix. Light a candle, grab a notebook, and sit somewhere quiet. Write down 3 questions. What do I want my life to look like in 5 years? What's stopping me from getting there? What's one step I can take this week? Don't overthink it. Just write. Let the answers come. You might be surprised by what you find. Maybe you'll realize you're staying in a job that's killing your spirit. Maybe you'll see you're holding on to a friendship that's one-sided. Or maybe you'll rediscover a dream you thought was impossible. This exercise isn't magic, but it's powerful. It's you taking the wheel of your life. Let's go deeper. Solitude doesn't just clarify your goals, it sharpens your standards. When you spend time alone, you start to notice what's worth your energy and what's not. You stop tolerating mediocrity, not out of ego, but out of respect for yourself. I met a guy named Chris at a workshop last summer. He was 38, stuck in a cycle of toxic relationships. He said he kept dating the same kind of person, someone who needed him to fix them. I asked him to try something. Spend 1 month single, no dating apps, just focusing on himself. He started journaling, working out, reading Stoic texts. By the end of the month, he told me, I realized I was settling because I didn't think I deserved better. Solitude showed him his worth. He started saying no to people who didn't respect him. He set boundaries. Today, he's in a relationship with someone who lifts him up, not because he chased her, but because he became a man worth choosing. That's what solitude does. It raises your bar. Now you might be thinking, I don't have time for this. My life's too full. I get it. Between work, family, and bills, solitude feels like a luxury. But it's not. It's a necessity. You don't need a weekend retreat or a cabin in the woods. You can find solitude in small moments. A 10-minute walk in the park, a quiet coffee before the day starts, a late-night drive. The key is intention. Make it a ritual. Block out 15 minutes a day to be alone with your thoughts. No distractions, just you. Over time, those minutes add up. They become your anchor, your compass. They keep you grounded when the world tries to pull you off course. One final thought. Clarity from solitude isn't a one-time deal. It's a practice. Life will get loud again. People will demand your time, your attention, your energy. But when you've tasted real clarity, you can't go back to living on autopilot. You start making choices with purpose. You say no to what doesn't align with your vision. You walk away from what dims your light. And when you do, something incredible happens. The world starts to align with you. The right people show up. The right opportunities find you. Not because you're chasing them, but because you're living from a place of truth. So, if you're ready to find that clarity, to build a life that's yours, stay with me. This is just the beginning. Brothers, we've covered a lot today, but let me leave you with this. The life you want isn't out there in the noise. It's in you, waiting to be uncovered. Start small. Find 10 minutes of silence today. Say no to one thing that doesn't serve you. Write down one dream you've been ignoring. These are the seeds of your transformation. Don't just watch this video and nod. Act. Subscribe to ZENLIGHT 8, because we're building a community of men who choose truth over comfort, purpose over applause. Drop a comment below. Tell me one thing you're going to do this week to embrace silence, break the approval addiction, or find clarity. Share this with a brother who needs to hear it. Let's rise together. Keep shining, and I'll see you in the next one.